Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 6 for 6 on this glorious September day, September 2nd, 2021, Season 1, Episode 15 of 6 for 6, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we got more of a special edition since college football championships are played this weekend. I'm going to rank you the 6 best college football games to watch for this weekend coming up. There's some, you could say controversy behind some of these picks and how you want to rank them. But I think, it's going to be a fun selection. But at the same time, we all know how some of these games are. We all know that some of these games are going to be highly anticipated, I would say. But the most important thing I would say is just knowing that there's some good games this weekend and a lot of things right on certain teams that perform well. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get down to business, make it a clean, professional show, and we will enjoy our tonight's program. And let's have a blast. Let's go down into it. So first up, ladies and gentlemen, in the 6th spot, we all know who is going to be. Pac-12 championship game, Oregon versus Utah, December 3rd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time on ABC. It's a Friday night game, ladies and gentlemen. Friday night lights, you can't get better than this. Though the Pac-12 is kind of eliminated the college football playoff scenario, and if they were going to put Oregon in, they would need a lot of help to get to that point. But that's not going to be it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What's really going to be is, can Oregon show that, they can compete with Utah? Because the last time they played, Utah destroyed them. The score was 38-7. It was embarrassing for Oregon, I would say, ladies and gentlemen. But according to ESPN, Utah is favored to win with a 61% chance to win this football game. So ESPN has them picked to win this. And I'm going to go with this too. I don't think Oregon can, hang with Utah. Utah is trying to win that, Pac-12 championship. It's been a while since they won it. So I would say this is a key, deciding victory if they can win it. Though Oregon is looking to get back into the Rose Bowl. If the Rose Bowl is not in the playoff picture, that's where one of these teams will go. But Utah hasn't been there in quite some time. So I think this is a prime opportunity for Utah to dominate Oregon again and bid their ticket into the Rose Bowl or the other New Year's Six that are not being played in the college football playoffs. But you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. My pick is going to be Utah to beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, in the 5th spot, we have Houston versus Cincinnati. Number 4 Cincinnati versus number 21 Houston. December 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time on ABC. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to classify this game. Do you believe in magic? Because Cincinnati needs to have a decisive victory here and make it convincing so the committee keeps them in at 4. Now, beg the difference. ESPN has them a favorite to win, 82% of the time of this game. They're favored to win that much. But at the same time, can they make it convincing? I know Cincinnati can struggle from time to time, but they need to come out and show that they are playoff caliber ready and steamroll a number 21 in the nation to lock in their bid. It has to be 3 touchdowns or more, even 4, to seal their fate. If they're not able to do it, there's a game later up in the rankings I would say will derail them and kind of get them booted out depending how the playoff scenario goes and how things unfold, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, but before I go into it, I'm thinking Cincinnati is going to hang on to this one, but it may be a close fashion. But for Cincinnati to get into the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, they have to dominate this football game. It's no questions asked about it, ladies and gentlemen. They have to dominate. Next up, we have in there, Isaiah is tuning in and says, "What's up?" Greeting from San Jose Airport. Hey, Isaiah, and hope you're enjoying work. But, we're going into the 4th game, the ACC championship game. 2 evenly matched teams, a 15 and a 16. Pitt is 15th in the nation. Wake Forest is 16th in the nation on December 4th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time on ABC, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be prime time game. So excited for it. And it's a great way, to see how it really developed for the ACC. 2 teams who haven't really been there in a while, at the title game, playing it out. But at the same time, you could say This game should be ranked as the 5th game, and Cincinnati and Houston should be ranked higher because of the playoff picture. But I think this is a solid matchup. Both teams are 10-2. Pitt is favorite to win this game. To me, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I think Pitt is going to be the more physical team in this. I think Pitt's going to pull this out, and Wake Forest I don't think they're going to have enough in the tank to do it. And I think Pitt's going to, take care of business and win the ACC championship. But you hear it here first, ladies and gentlemen, on 6 for 6. I'm going to go with Pitt on this one. Let's do a quick recap with my picks I have so far, my 6 for 6, and then we'll head in the top 3, where it's going to be the meat and potatoes of everything to see how this is truly broken down for the college football playoffs. So in the 6th spot, I picked Utah to win this football game. So it's Oregon versus Utah. Utah dominated Oregon this year already. It wasn't even close. So I'm going to go with Utah in this fashion. They're going to win on Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. The game is Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on ABC. In the 5th spot, we got Houston versus Cincinnati, December 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on ABC. This game right here, ladies and gentlemen, is solidifying Cincinnati's playoff berth. If they can dominate this football game, they are in, and I'm going to pick Cincinnati to get that group of 5 in the playoff picture. Next up, we got Pitt versus Wake Forest. Evenly matches. Both teams are ranked fairly close. I think it's going to be a thrilling matchup from start to finish, but I think Pitt is going to be a physical football team in this game and prevent Wake Forest from winning this football game. Expect it to be close, but I'm going to go with Pitt to win this football game, ladies and gentlemen. Got a couple comments coming in. Oh, boy. Isaiah says, how about Michigan beating Ohio State? Okay, let me talk about that game real quick. Michigan and Ohio State. Michigan came out, you could say, a more physical team. They ran the ball against Ohio State very efficiently. But at the same time, Ohio State had so many penalties that really hurt Ohio State, which kind of, dampened some of their drives and really messed up Ohio State's momentum in the game. But at the same time, you can't be making those mistakes against a highly caliber team as Michigan is. But at the same time, you got to, take care of business, win it, and move on to the Big Ten championship game. Penalties kill, and that's what's going to happen in the playoffs. You can't give up penalties. These top 4 teams will expose you for penalties that you've made, and you will lose this game because of penalties. It's simple as that. Turnovers and penalties kill games. The bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing new about that. And then Isaiah goes in with Cincinnati. He says, if Cincinnati struggles and only wins by, let's say 3 or 7 points, does Oklahoma State jump them if they win convincingly? That is another debate that we're going to have later on to figure that out. But we're going to keep moving on for tonight's program, ladies and gentlemen, which brings us to our game. Number 3, which is Baylor versus number 5, Oklahoma State, December 4th at noon, ladies and gentlemen, at 9 a.m. Pacific on ABC. This is, can Oklahoma State get in? They need help, and there's going to be teams that will eventually lose, allow them to get in. But the first test they have to do is they have to win convincingly. That's same with Cincinnati. You got to win convincingly to get in. And this is a prime game because it's a top 10 matchup. If you beat number 9 Baylor, you kind of get in if you do it very convincingly. If you were up by like 3 or 4 touchdowns, well, I'm saying 3 or 4, when you just need win by 3, you're in. Bottom line. Because the number 1 game, one of those teams is going to fall off. Maybe not, but let's see how it really develops. But at the same time, if Oklahoma State wins convincingly, in my opinion, you can't leave them out of this picture. They had 2 top 10 wins within the last 2 weeks. Come on now. How do you leave a team like that out? If they leave a team out like that out, I can understand if, Alabama beats Georgia. You could see, leave Georgia in and all that stuff, and then Cincinnati stays in. But how do you leave a top 10 team like that out? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I just do not know. We got a couple comments coming in from our glorious fans. Oh, man. We got Justin. Says, does Baylor have a shot? Baylor's a 2-loss team. They need a lot of help to get into this playoff picture. Without that, then I think Notre Dame's even ranked higher than them. So it's at the same time, they're fighting an uphill battle to get in. If they were a 1-loss team, yes, they would have a shot. But a 2-loss team is very unlikely to slip in at this point. I think it's a 1-loss game at this point. But in our number 2 slot, ladies and gentlemen, we have Michigan, who's number 2, versus number 13, Iowa, on December 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Fox, ladies and gentlemen. This game is the Big Ten Championship. Michigan hasn't been here in a while, and neither has Iowa. But let's look at the facts right here, ladies and gentlemen. Michigan just came off of a huge win over Ohio State. ESPN has them favored to win this game with a 76% chance of winning this football game. If Iowa was ranked higher, let's say they were only a one-loss team, how crazy would this game have been? This would probably have been a 2 versus a 6 or something like that. A thrilling game to watch from start to finish. But my question is, does Michigan's ego from beating Ohio State cause them to slip up and lose this game and remove them from the college football playoffs? I don't think it's going to happen, but coming off of a big win, a lot of teams have that big win hangover and they lose the next week. We've seen it happen, and it can happen again. Michigan has to play a solid 4-quarter football game to keep this number 2 spot, because it can easily flip if the number 1 game on 6 for 6 goes in a different direction. Got a couple comments from our viewers, but for this game, I think the team up north, which is Michigan, will pull it out, but with their egos highly inflated from being Ohio State, don't count Iowa out in this game to stun Michigan at any point in this game. I could say it would be early on, and then Michigan would need to come something in the second half to put Iowa away, because you can't let Iowa hang around, because that would be a nightmare in this Big Ten championship game for Michigan. Got a couple comments coming in. What we got here? Oh, what we got? We got Justin. He says, if Michigan lose, can Michigan still get in? If Michigan lose, they're a 2-loss team, and they would be eliminated. Now, if Alabama beats Georgia and all that stuff, Georgia would stay in, Alabama would stay in, Cincinnati would stay in, and if Oklahoma State wins, they would get in. Now, if Michigan would lose and Oklahoma State would lose, then Notre Dame would find a way to get in, as crazy as that is. And if craziness happens, can a 2-loss team in? I kind of addressed it. You need a lot of factors for a 2-loss team to get in, ladies and gentlemen. Isaiah has Michigan winning 27-14 in the Big Ten championship game. And he's also saying he's rooting for Georgia and Michigan to win so we can have the Isaiah playoffs, he puts in quotes. And for Cincinnati to struggle and Oklahoma State to lose, Bama to lose, which causes, utter pandemonium. But ladies and gentlemen, let's go into the last game. The game that we all know that we are going to watch at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific time on CBS. Georgia, number 1 Georgia versus number 3 Alabama. I think after seeing how the Iron Bowl played out, Alabama is not the same Alabama that we all know. This is a vulnerable Alabama played against not as a strong Auburn team. How to go in overtime to beat Auburn at Auburn wasn't pretty from the entire game. They were almost shut out until late in the game, and they come back and win it. But now the question is, Georgia may underestimate Alabama, which may cause Georgia to slip up and let Alabama hang around this game and make this a close game that they would not like to happen, ladies and gentlemen. But at the same time, I think Georgia is going to be able to handle Alabama, and Alabama is going to get that loss and is going to remove them from the college football playoffs. But however, it's very possible Alabama can hang around in this football game and stun Georgia, and it's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. You have Alabama slipping back into the playoffs, Georgia probably being a 3, Michigan probably staying a 2, and, Cincinnati a 4. That's probably what could happen. But we have to wait and see on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Got a couple comments before I do a quick recap and close out tonight's program. What we got here. Isaiah, he says, yes, the game that I've been looking for, and he wanted for years, Alabama. If Alabama, does Bryce Young win the Heisman? If he shows up into this game and makes it an ESPN Classic and puts up record-breaking numbers against Georgia's defense, this game may solidify his fate as a Heisman Trophy winner. I wouldn't be surprised if this happens, because you beat a number 1 team in the nation in the title game. What else do you need for a Heisman Trophy winner to win it? Just saying. Isaiah, he says it doesn't matter if Alabama struggles. The last several weeks, they don't look the same old Alabama that we come accustomed to. And Georgia has been dominating every game this year until Kirby Smart in Georgia is able to slay the dragon and topple Alabama and Saban. I'm worried and skeptical. But let's go to our quick recap tonight, ladies and gentlemen, to close out tonight's program. So we got in the 6th spot, we got Oregon versus Utah. I'm going with Utah in this game. Nice classic in there, but I think Utah will dominate it again. And then the 5th spot, we got Houston versus Cincinnati at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on ABC on December 4th. I'm going with Cincinnati to make sure they can get their college football playoff bid locked in and selected. And then we got Pitt versus Wake Forest, evenly matched teams, both 2-loss teams. But at the same time, I think it's going to be a thrilling match. I think Pitt's the more physical team, and I think they're going to be able to win this out. Next up, we got in the 3 slot, we got Baylor, number 9 Baylor versus number 5 Oklahoma State. I want to believe in the other OSU to get in there. There got to be an OSU in the playoffs, and this is the last OSU team remaining to do it. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma State, but maybe in a close fashion. Number 2, we got Michigan versus Iowa. Oh, boy. I think Michigan's probably going to win this game, but at the same time, with a big ego win over Ohio State, I think it's very likely that they may struggle in the first half, but they must find a way to come back in the second half to win this game. And then the last but not least, number 1 Georgia versus number 3 Alabama. I'm going to go with Georgia. Georgia has the physical defense to keep Alabama shut down based on what we saw recently with Alabama and Auburn game, but I think it's a no-brainer to have Georgia win this football game. Let me read some comments, and I'll bring tonight's program to a close. We got, like Kirsty Wilson says, Alabama looks vulnerable, and Georgia needs a laser-focused game and treat this Alabama team like it was with Tua. But I think that would be it right now. Who's the favorite for the Heisman? I think we'll probably see. I think it'll probably be Bryce Young from Alabama to take care of this game and all that stuff to win it, because you got the how would you not win the Heisman if you don't beat the number 1 team in the nation? I think this is like prime game to do that. Isaiah is going to go with Oregon in the revenge game and beats Utah. Kirsty Wilson has Baylor beating Oklahoma State. And then Isaiah asked, no NFL games? Not this week, because this is college football, championship weekend. How could you not rank these games and try to figure out and all that stuff? But, yeah, that would be it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. A nice, quick 6 for 6 program on that. Before I close out, Isaiah Keaton Slovis is not winning the Heisman. Let me make that clear. He is not winning it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for here tonight on this glorious edition of 6 for 6. Hope you joined tonight's program. If you missed any of the picks that I had, feel free to rewatch this on our Facebook page, YouTube, Twitch. If you don't have, access to that, or just want to, listen without anything, easy to look back, go into a couple minutes. It'll be up on Spotify, and, see, the MI6 on your Spotify recap playlist for the wrap of the year, so you can, give us some love and support in that as well. But thank you so much, and we will see you, I would say, next Thursday when we have another edition of 6 for 6, and then we'll be back on Saturdays, just for how my weekends are setting up for the next couple of weeks. I'm shifting this more towards a Thursday night. But that will do it for here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here on the 6 for 6. And that will be it for tonight on the MI6 Sports Network. Take care and see you next time. So long for now. Take care. Bye-bye.